going on, everybody? I've had enough emails and texts and phone calls since my last newsletter earlier this week, video newsletter, that people are just kind of asking for my opinion on current situation. Now, first off, is nothing more than an opinion. I do think that just kind of study what the world economy is doing and stuff like that, just because it's neat. It's interesting how all the global supply chain works together, but it's nothing more than an opinion. But it seems there's a number of opinions out there right now, and quite honestly, I can't understand exactly why we're in a situation that we're in. So first off, do I think this is serious? That's been one of the biggest questions. I do think it's serious. I think it's a serious threat to those who are in the age bracket that it's most deadly to, and I also think it's serious for those who have pre-existing health conditions. Now, those people probably have self-quarantined themselves just to avoid some of the issues. If not, that is their right to do whatever they want to do. I mean, why do we tell people continually how to live their lives? From that perspective, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Somebody asked, well, look at what do I think about what's going on in Italy? Now, I'm not watching Italy. There's a reason why I'm not watching Italy. Culturally, they're much different than us. The younger generation spends a lot more time with the older generation. They are very, some of those are very large families, and they get together once a week. That is predominantly not the case in the U.S., so that's completely different. They have a large number of older people in their demographics, and of those people, a lot of them smoke. So they have a much higher rate of respiratory issues than we do. So I don't think that's necessarily a great litmus test for how this is going to go in the U.S. What I do think, what I am watching very closely, and I think is extremely promising, is South Korea. So demographically, they're a lot closer in age than to what we are, and their health system is phenomenal. So you kind of get an idea of what things could look like in the U.S., and they're breezing right through it. Like, they're the case study of exactly how this should go down and how little of a threat this is. So that's what I think there. Somebody asked for marketing advice on corn and soybeans. Look, if anybody's giving you marketing advice right now, I don't care how much of a marketing expert they are, and here's why. Nobody knows. If we knew what was going on right now, we wouldn't be in this situation. Like, if we had true, concrete answers, this wouldn't be going on right now. It'd be cut and dry. But nobody really knows right now. There's so much disinformation out there from the media, and this is just new, right? It's new territory for most people because it's spreading so fast. So I can't give any marketing advice. How I would play it safe would be keep my mix as close to 50-50 as possible on corn and soybeans. Hopefully you got some booked already at a decent price, and if you don't, probably got to wait it out. So from my perspective, I'd be more concerned on just managing my cash, not spending money on things I don't need, and keeping cash flow high, because I think that's going to be critical here in the next few months, and that's going to be, doesn't matter whether you're in the ag industry or some other industry, I think that's going to be super critical moving forward. So yeah, back to the media. There's I've been listening to a lot of people give ag marketing advice. Now look, most of these guys are much older. They've been around for a long time. And I think there's one key piece of all this that everybody's forgetting, that much of the younger generation understands, and that's the power of social media, of what's been going on. That's kind of what got us into this mess. If you turned off mainstream media and social media, this problem would be gone, or it would have never existed. And that's the problem. So if you look at it as just straight statistics, SARS and MERS, the media mentioned SARS and MERS like 52 million times total throughout the whole thing. Coronavirus is over 1.1 billion mentions. So that right there tells you that people are just being inundated with this from every angle. Everybody's an expert. And again, I don't personally understand why things are going the way they are. I'm not an expert. All I know is that everybody's got instant access to media and everything like that. So again, it just points back to we don't have enough answers to make any decisions. Now, that being the case, I do think in the next week we are going to have a general idea of how this is going to play out. I think Trump's got to make a decision whether or not we're going to instill a quarantine like every other country has, or if he's just going to say, hey, look, we're going to go about this in a structured manner. Hopefully he chooses a structured manner, because I don't think quarantining the entire U.S. is a good idea. I do think the media angle on this is really interesting because it's an election year, and I think everybody in ag knows that, right? So I hate to say that somebody was trying to bring a recession in, but if there's anybody that can do it, it'd be the mainstream media, which sways a little more liberal than what Trump is. So what better way to try to kick him out of office than to discredit him by saying he was too slow to react to the coronavirus, and kind of get the economy in a tumble. So the interesting piece there is that now the markets are essentially at the same level as where he took office. So if you've already noticed, hopefully you guys have noticed, I've got a little application that I use that kind of just generally takes all of the current news and aggregates it together, so I kind of have an idea of emotionally where the media is at. That's all I care about. I do not care about their message. I care about how their message is changing. And so just yesterday, the message started changing. Oh, look, hey, we went from Trump's too slow to react on coronavirus, it started before that, just coronavirus in general. We're all going to die, and then it went to Trump's too slow to react in the U.S. Look what's happened now. As of yesterday, it's aggregating to Trump has now messed up the economy. So I look to see a media shift from the coronavirus to how Trump has messed up our economy, just because I think the ultimate goal is to get him out of office. And quite honestly, within the news media, for the most part, it's ran by 5 major corporations. Those guys have money in the stock market too. Now, they were probably smarter than all of us and have hedged their bets on the stock market going down when they started it, so they probably made more money. But eventually they're going to want that thing to go back up also. So they don't want to mess up their money. So I look to see the message change a little bit, especially as South Korea data can't be hidden, and they're breezing through it. So this video is being recorded right before our governor in Indiana is about to speak at 1 p.m. And give a message. So that's going to be interesting. The one thing that could completely scrap all this, like I said, this is all an opinion for me. There's no concrete facts here, just like everybody else giving opinions. But I think, if they do some sort of travel ban or something like that, then we're in this thing for the long haul, a longer haul anyway. And there's a number of reasons. There's a number of virologists out there saying if we quarantine too much, we'll have multiple waves later on, and then you're going to be looking at like 18-month extended pandemic of this thing. So I don't think that's what we need, but unfortunately, I don't think anybody has any answers. The medical side, they don't fully understand this thing. I'm not even going into the conspiracy theories because I'm not going to, you could just get your head in a super spin if you do that, and quite honestly, it's not worth it. So the positives that I see out of this, our nation could use something like this in order to bring everybody together. I think we've been so polarized for the past 8+ years, 10 years, that I hope people begin to come back together and realize that we're all Americans, right? So instead of battling each other, why don't we help each other and make the country better? So I hope that happens. No guarantees. And I also think that America is getting a preview of what it would look like without a Chinese economy involved. We've got a lot of our manufacturing outsourced to China, and I don't understand why at this point in time with automation and things like that. there's no reason why we should have as much manufacturing over in China as what we do right now. You know, I think if you look, there's a lot of companies that have started to bring things back, some to Mexico, some to Japan, some to back into the U.S. I think Apple has been very slow to move things back to the U.S., but I think that's going to be critical in these coming days afterwards, after this is over with and people kind of get back to normal life. I think you're going to see some major corporations, the one that come out of this thing, doing really well. I think you're going to see them move a lot of stuff back to the U.S. or back somewhere where they're not upheld by the Chinese. So I think that could be a very good thing too. Quite frankly, America doesn't need anybody else. With fracking and the oil that we have within here, with our food supply, we really don't need to be doing anything with anybody else. And we, you know, again, this is just all opinion, but I think we should focus on ourselves more than the world stage. The world doesn't need us, or the world needs us. We don't need them. We should focus on ourselves. Quite honestly, nobody has the military power to overtake the U.S. anyway. So, I mean, patrol our waters close by and leave us be. That would be my vote. I do think the interesting piece there, I know some people had told me, oh, you know, Chinese has a billion people and the biggest, largest army there was, but you got to have aircraft carriers and things to get them here. So, and long range missiles. So, you know, our military is just far superior. So, refocus back at home. That's my vote. You know, get everything coming back here to where we're not reliant on other countries like we are now. I think it shows a major weakness we currently have in our defenses just by having things so far out into other countries. So again, those are just my opinions, my thoughts. Somebody asked for them. Don't take them to the bank. Don't hedge any bets on them or anything like that. It's just having looked at this and having talked to a number of other people outside of the ag industry. This is kind of where I've came to fall on this. And quite honestly, other than receiving calls from customers and talking about it there, I don't feel like I have the time or energy. We're just trying to get everything delivered in case the government does do something stupid and completely bans travel, which absolutely would make no sense. But up to this point, our government hasn't made sense. So anyway, like always, don't hesitate to call, text, email, whatever. And I will get to you guys when I can. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's staying safe. And if you need anything at all, doesn't need to be seed related, doesn't need to be ag related. You need anything at all, don't hesitate to call. This is a time where I hope people do band together and, you know, we bring a little bit of human interaction back into humanity and make things a better place. So wish everybody well, and we'll talk to you soon.